Okay. By Executive Order N-29-20 issued on March 18th, 2020, NMUSD board meetings will be closed to the public. Habrá interpretación al español a través del mismo enlace de Zoom. I'm calling the special meeting via teleconference to order at 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Opening ceremonies. Let's stand for a moment of reflection led by Trustee Black, and Pledge of Allegiance led by Trustee Snell.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Floor,
Here.
Trustee Yelsey,
Here.
Trustee Black,
Here.
Trustee Barto,
Here.
Trustee Anderson, here. Trustee Snell,
Here.
Trustee Matoye,
Here.
Mr. Lee Sung.
Here.
Okay, moving on to item number 5, adoption of the agenda. May I have a motion to adopt, please?
Move adoption.
Second.
Okay, so
Whomever.
it was moved by Trustee Yelsey and seconded by Trustee Matoye. Roll call, please.
Trustee Floor,
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey,
Yes.
Trustee Black,
Yes.
Trustee Barto,
Yes.
Trustee Anderson,
Yes.
Trustee Snell,
Yes.
Trustee Matoye.
Yes.
Okay, we're on to item number 6, community input. I wanted to give the community information on the breakdown. We received 8 comments. We received comments on 8A, adopt resolution 17-2020, finding the Estancia High School Theater Project exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act and approving the filing and recordation of a notice of exemption. We had 2 comments. 8B, approve amendment number 1 with PlaceWorks for theater at Estancia High School, 4 comments. And 9A, public employee evaluation title superintendent pursuant to Government Code section 54957. We had 2 comments. Just to give a little bit of clarification, we will do the community input on the first 6 comments. The employee evaluation part 9A will go after the end of this section when we go into closed session again. So we have 2 closed sessions this evening. So Trustee Black, would you read the statement, please? Oh, we're not.
We don't have.
Oh, okay, that's right. Perfect. Thank you. I did unmute and then it got muted again. So sorry. So I apologize. There are no comments on closed session items on this section. So we will convene into closed session at this point in time. Thank you. We are reconvening into open session. Again, we are on item number 8, discussion action calendar. I want to remind everyone that those of us, we received 8 public comments, 2 on item 8A, adopt resolution 17-12-20, finding the Estancia High School Theater Project exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, and approving the filing and recordation of a notice of exemption. There were 2 comments. And item 8B, approve amendment 1 with Placeworks. For theater at Estancia High School, there were 4 comments. There were also 2 comments regarding item number 9A, public employee evaluation, that we will take at the conclusion of this item. So with that, we have with us 2 individuals to speak on this, as well as, so I'm going to turn it over. This is on item number 8, discussion action calendar. Item 8A, adopt resolution 1720-20, finding the Estancia High School Theater Project exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, and approving the filing and recordation of a notice of exemption. Superintendent Lee-Sung.
Yeah, President Floor, we request that we maybe start with our public comments related to these items, and then we will move into our report.
Okay, so I'm going to make the recommendation that we actually read all 4 comments, all 6 comments regarding item 8, or would you like to break it out into the 2?
Yeah, I think because they're related, we would prefer 8A and 8B be read at this time.
Terrific. Okay, thank you. So Trustee Anderson, you have the first one.
Yes.
Ms. Blackburn, I mean, we're not doing the disclosure statement.
Oh, yes, sorry. You already read it once, but go ahead.
I have not read
The
it.
last time.
Oh, this is my last time. Let's just skip it and say we did.
There's nobody in.
This is an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items on the special meeting agenda only. Each speaker has 3 minutes to address the board per board policy 9323. There is a maximum of 20 minutes of comments per topic. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comments depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to speak. In the event the number of submitted public comments for a closed session item are anticipated to exceed 20 minutes, the order of comments will be read in random order until the 20 minutes have expired.
And I have the first comment. It's from Charlene Ashendorf. I would like first to thank the administration and staff who provided the Estancia High School Theater presentation on December 3rd. While holding a public meeting online is not the best, it was very helpful. I was hoping, however, there would be more opportunities for public input before tonight's meeting. Like those who spoke that evening, I wholeheartedly support and look forward to the completion of the new school theater complex in 2023. That said, the point of contention for many remains the theater placement. I was hoping to be able to ask the newly seated trustees to weigh in on a different location for the theater. Many of us believe that keeping the integrity of the welcoming grounds and open space in front of the school used by students is what makes Estancia High School unique. It also offers the community a place to host events like the very successful craft fair, Fall in Love with the West Side. What a special way to strengthen the neighborhood, bringing together opportunities to shop and fundraise and then to walk across the street for train rides at Goat Hill Junction. The landscape of Fairview Park, the historical mural on Placentia, as well as Goat Hill Junction offer a user-friendly walk, skate, bike experience for all ages that will be impacted by the proposed theater location. While I will hold out hope for an opportunity to explore the alternative site location, my sense is that the current configuration is a fait accompli. That being the case, I am going out on a limb on one of the sycamores, offering a suggestion. I urge you not to do a hatchet job on these trees as was done on the trees at Ensign. Consider repurposing these sycamores. Salvage the trees and use them as an urban wood feature on the campus. Consider a park bench or a table and recycle the sycamores. If you're going to remove the trees, why not leave a legacy on campus? Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and may you have a happy 2021.
Thank you. Trustee Barto.
My comment is from the City of Costa Mesa. Dear Newport-Mesa Unified School District Board of Education, as representatives of the residents of Costa Mesa, whose children attend your schools, and as many of us have attended your schools ourselves, we write to you today on a subject of concern outside of a purely educational context. In fact, 4 of us are Estancia alumni, and our mayor is married to an alum as well. The City Council of Costa Mesa opposes any plans to remove the mature sycamore trees currently sited within the proposed footprint of the new theater project at Estancia High School. The city has a strong tree removal policy for public rights-of-way, which protects our broader efforts to maintain a healthy, diverse urban forest. As the City of Costa Mesa is a Tree City USA, we highly value our diversity of tree varieties, settings, and maturities throughout our community, and they are a key factor in maintaining and advancing our commitment to climate action. Increasing and preserving the supply of mature trees improves local air quality, water resources, personal health and well-being, and energy resource use, while also sequestering carbon. The City of Costa Mesa is happy to assist the school district in developing formal evaluation criteria similar to those currently in place for tree removal from public rights-of-way. The theater project, while a long-needed and exciting development at Estancia High School, also seems to propose the removal of a significant number of other types of mature trees and reduces open space on the front of the campus significantly. After reviewing the documents presented to your board in 2019, there does not appear to have been an analysis shared as to the number of trees proposed to be removed or the negative impact thereof. Our community values these and other mature trees throughout the city. Please work with us to ensure the wishes of our shared constituents are considered in your planning process. To that effect, please include the city in notifications about your public meetings, public hearings, and any other opportunities for public engagement on this development. Thank you, Costa Mesa City Council.
My community member is Karen Yersini. I believe that it is time to approve the Estancia High School Theater Project now. The excellent drama program at Estancia deserves the completion of this project. Not only does it provide many opportunities for students to participate and learn about the world of theater, but it offers students a place to mature in a loving, accepting environment. The facilities offered to those students interested in sports show a strong commitment to the sports world. Let's show that there is another world for students to mature and excel in. We only have them for 4 years. Let's give them many avenues to investigate. Didn't the community vote for this?
Thank you. My comments from Joseph De Aquino. I understand the Estancia High School Theater Project is a component of the overall school, but I am not seeing any theater building experience on either Placework or Leaf Engineering's website. At this point, Newport Harbor, Costa Mesa, and Corona del Mar's theaters, although aesthetically pretty, each have significant architectural flaws for functioning as theaters. And although my knowledge may not be of interest in the district while we are still in the design stages, people with theater expertise should be on the production team regarding basic design for seating, center breaks in the rows for emergency exiting, the height and slope of seats in relation to the stage, proper height and distance from the lip of the stage, of the electric pipes for properly lighting the performers on stage, wing space, shop door sizes for loading and unloading sets, functional lobby space, stage floor type, and heating and air conditioning controls, just to name a few concerns which I can point out that were done incorrectly at Newport Harbor site when the renovation was done in 2008. If you choose not to use local expertise and those that will maintain and work in our theater space, you will find the district with a pretty looking building that has significant flaws in its functionality. Thank you.
My community member is Chris Ray. Greetings to the school board and district leadership. I am an Estancia parent of a sophomore and senior and have had the honor to serve on numerous PTAs, foundations, and committees that serve the students of the Estancia zone. I would like to thank all involved to date in helping make the Estancia Theater Project as proposed a reality. The community is beyond appreciative and excited for the amazing impact it will have for students in the arts, the general student body, the school community, the Estancia zone, and the Estancia brand. I am hopeful that the district is focused on moving forward with the current theater plans and not hesitating or altering course. The more than qualified, respected, trusted, and dedicated committee that made the recommendation for the proposed location weighed all the pros and cons and costs, and determined that the current location was the absolute best option. The few reckless and unengaged people speaking in opposition to the theater and its location are not Estancia supporters and do not have Estancia High School and its students' best interests in mind. They are prioritizing trees, personal feelings, and political agendas over the students. The time, resources, and money wasted debating this alone demonstrates that. Not one single opposition speaker during the December 3 community meeting gave a solid rationale for their opposition. All of them either do not live in the Estancia zone or do not have a student enrolled at Estancia, and not a single one of them contributes their time or treasure in support of the students of Estancia. Not one opposing speaker voiced more concern about the students and the school than for the trees or the grass area, and in most cases did not even mention the students. The Estancia community is extremely appreciative and proud of the recent support and commitment from the district on multiple projects in spite of many hurdles. This is helping overcome a long-held sentiment that Estancia is always last in line, disregarded, and disrespected by the district compared to the other high schools. That said, there is still tremendous frustration. Estancia and the district do not need a setback that will take long-built frustrations, make it mushroom. I respectfully request on behalf of many Estancia families that the theater project move forward expeditiously to benefit as many students as possible as soon as possible. Thank you, Chris Ray.
Thank you.
The next comment is from Pauline Moranian. Kids before trees. We educate people, not trees. And to whomever said the theater should have windows has clearly never been to a theater. The theater will never have windows, ever. Maybe the lobby, but not the theater. And perhaps the naysayers and complainers should walk their dogs elsewhere. I am fairly sure they do not live close enough to Estancia and would prefer their own coiffed parks. There will be new trees. Do they drive SUVs? Do they support an agenda they want to clear the rainforest? I wonder, when is the last time they donated money to preserve nature or wildlife? I'm going to go out on a limb here, pun intended, and guess never. But I suppose I best not assume and make a blank out of them. But if the shoe fits, don't be asinine.
That's the end of our public comments on item 8. So Superintendent Lee-Sung.
Okay, I am honored to do the little introduction here to, first of all, thank Mr. Holcomb, Director of Facilities Ada Zaresny, and all the people involved in this project. I was fortunate enough, just like many of you, to attend the community meeting last week. I appreciate the comments that people shared. I also appreciate hearing from the people who really understand and know the facility and are part of the program there, and the excitement around having a new theater and supporting our program, our students and our community for many years to come. So I just wanted to say I really appreciate everyone's work and everyone's involvement, and to hear my commitment to support this project to completion. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Holcomb and staff.
Thank you, Superintendent Lee-Sung. There were a couple of things in the comments that I would like to clarify for all of you on the board and the people who are listening in. In the comment that came from the city of Costa Mesa, they talked about tree removal in the public right-of-way. And one thing, so that you all are aware with regard to this project, there are no trees currently contemplated to be removed from the public right-of-way in Costa Mesa as part of this project. So that really isn't pertinent to this project, nor to the notice of exemption that you're looking at this evening. The other statement that was made with regard to the number of trees, you see that the notice of exemption does show some diagrams about trees on our property, and what will be done there. So I'm not really sure what the city is thinking again, since we're not removing any of the trees in the city public right-of-way, what that comment does. But I did want to point out that there are diagrams in the Notice of Exemption that talk about the trees. The other thing that the city talks about is being involved in public engagement in this development, and the fact that the city is commenting here in your board meeting on this. We have reached out, we have communicated with staff, and they're aware of this project as you see here. So we're trying to do everything properly in that regard. Another one of the comments spoke about a couple of consultant names. It said something about theater building experience of PlaceWorks or Leaf Engineering. Just to clarify, PlaceWorks is an environmental consultant. They're not a design consultant. They don't really participate in the design. They take what our project is and they look at it through the lens of CEQA to determine what needs to be done. I'm confident, although I don't know their entire resume, they've been around for decades, that they have many, many theater projects that they have taken through this process, but they are really an environmental consultant, not involved in the design. Leaf Engineering is not involved in this project, so I'm not sure what the commenter was thinking in that regard. The other thing that was stated by the commenter was about local expertise and involvement. And you know, from some of the meetings that we've had, we've talked about a committee that was put together for this project that made sure that we had representative people who will be using the theater from the site. And we talked about that in last Thursday's meeting. Both Pauline Marenian, who made a comment this evening, who is the drama teacher, was in that committee, as was Stacy Nakato, who is the music teacher at the school. Also, our lead theater tech for the project was part of that committee all the way through design. Everything that's in the design was reviewed with him in the meetings before he and his wife chose to take a position in another community, and he left us. He was there through all of that. And I believe those are the couple of things I wanted to clarify there.
Mr. Holcomb, I also wanted to respond to that and just give an idea to that one about the architect. The architect on this project was Pfeiffer Architect. They were specifically chosen because of their expertise in theater design. And I have their website, and on their website, they were the designer and received an award of merit for Chapman University's Musco Center. They awarded that. They also designed the Mount Royal Taylor Center, as well as in New York, Potsdam, as well as Dukes Baldwin's Auditorium. So they are very familiar with the expertise in terms of design of theaters, and they were specifically chosen for that reason.
Yes, you'll recall we originally had 12 firms interested, shortlisted down to 5, interviewed them, and Pfeiffer does have significant theater experience. Well said, President Fleur. Also asked the principal of Estancia High School, Mike Halt, to join us tonight to offer any thoughts about any of these types of things, and also that question of the committee and the involvement of people. It may be repeating a bit for some who've been to both meetings, but Mr. Halt, if you could unmute yourself and join me for a moment. If you could very briefly kind of talk about how we worked together with that committee to make sure that the best ideas in theater operations and design, and specifically how it will impact your high school, were considered throughout the design process.
Certainly. And as I begin that, I'd also just like to acknowledge what a great and professional organization Pfeiffer Architects is. They have, as you mentioned, not a ton of theater experience. What they didn't have a lot of was working with high schools. We're one of the few high schools that they've worked with. They traditionally do theaters at a much larger scale, and they bring a level of professionalism that's greatly appreciated. The committee that I was part of involved both experts from the district level, the site level, and as you mentioned, Tim, Ryan White was an integral part of the committee. For the site, we wanted to make sure that we had two solid teachers, Pauline and Stacy. Pauline being our drama teacher, Stacy our music teacher, because again, as I've mentioned before, it's not just a theater. This is truly going to be a performing arts theater. So we want to make sure that music and drama were well represented. And I asked Pauline and worked with her on getting community supporters who would be there, who understood what our community expects from our drama program, and wanted to make sure we get the type of community support that I believe we're seeing here tonight and throughout this process. So we had president of the boosters, who's a longtime supporter of the program, was part of it, as well as Carlo, who's been a long supporter and a former graduate of the school, who's been involved since he was in high school and continues to be involved working with our students, and is currently right now the director of our upcoming Zoom performance.
Sorry, I need to unmute myself. Thank you, Mr. Holt, very much for your comments. With that, we also have Mr. Dwayne Mears with us this evening. Mr. Mears is a principal with PlaceWorks, and I've asked Mr. Mears to walk us through in a very overview process, but hitting the key points, what it is that we do in the CEQA process and what this particular action is, and then the specific document that you're looking at tonight and what it is that we're asking you to review and the finding that we're asking you to reach as you have your discussions and your deliberations evening. So Mr. Mears, if you would, please.
All right, very good. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Holcomb. I'd like to give a little bit of background about myself and the company. I think there were some questions that you've already answered, but I want to make sure you understand our qualifications to do this work. I hit my 40th year of doing this kind of work, environmental studies, in 2020. And the last 35 years have been focused on school facilities. And I can safely say that our firm, PlaceWorks, has done more school facility projects in terms of these environmental studies than any other company in the state. I taught at UC Riverside Extension for 10 years. I taught a course on completing CEQA documents and other environmental studies for school facilities. I currently teach and mentor at the School Facilities Leadership Academy, and we are training leaders in school facility planning throughout California. I've completed hundreds of school facility projects, many of which included theaters, performing arts centers, gyms, you name it, many very similar kinds of projects. And earlier this afternoon, actually, I'm very proud that we received an award from the Association of Environmental Professionals for our publication. It's called A Practical Guide to the California Environmental Quality Act. It's a public review of the process. It's for decision makers and the public, and we just got an award for that. So I'm very proud of that. We've done 6 editions of this, and the guide has evolved through the years. CEQA, when I started, was a much different animal than it is today, as you can imagine. Let me provide now a brief overview of the process of where we've been and kind of how this progresses. The approval of the theater is subject to CEQA. And so that, because it's subject to CEQA, it requires some level of review. Now that differs depending on the kind of project it is. It can be anywhere from nothing more than an exemption to a full environmental impact report. And you've seen those, and we've produced those, and those can be very major documents, hundreds, if not thousands of pages long. But CEQA also provides that certain projects will qualify for exemptions. And there's different kinds of exemptions. There are statutory exemptions. That's one of the very first things we looked at. And those are blanket exemptions from CEQA. We looked at those. Those don't apply to your project. We next looked at categorical exemptions and found 2 categories that apply. What we call class 2, replacement or reconstruction, and a class 4, which is minor additions to schools. The theater is proposed on an existing school. That's very important. It's on an existing campus. Most importantly, when we look at these kind of projects, it's kind of the nature of what it is you're doing. And in this case, you're not increasing student capacity. You're not increasing the number of kids there at that campus. The theater is designed to serve the existing and future student bodies, but again, at the same level of attendance. So that's very important, because when we think about these kind of projects, very often the impacts are what gets generated from the campus and off the campus. Traffic, for example. And you can look at this project as, you're creating a new amenity, a better amenity on the campus. So you're capturing trips in the neighborhood. You're capturing trips right there, as opposed to traveling further distances to other kinds of other facilities elsewhere. We have completed theaters with very large seating capacities. Some of those were like to serve for an entire district. A district may decide that, well, we can serve all of our high schools through one theater or one performing arts center. And so they do a large capacity theater. That's not the case here. You have 350, no more than 350 seats. It's to serve the existing campus. If we had a larger regional facility, we wouldn't do an exemption. We would do something like a mitigated negative declaration or a full environmental impact report. So that would be a very different situation than what we have here. We've got a theater that's limited to 350 seats. It's constructed on an existing campus. It's on a portion of the site that doesn't have any sensitive wetlands or an endangered species. We look at historic resources. We're not going to impact those. There's not a hazardous condition that would create a significant impact. So we look at all those things and conclude that this qualifies for a categorical exemption. Now, even where we fit into a category, there are possible exceptions to that. So we check those, and you have two documents in front of you. One's the Notice of Exemption. That's kind of the two-page thing. It's very short. It's what is filed with the county and the state clearinghouse. Then you also have an attachment to that, and that's really kind of the details for our analysis and why we came to the conclusions that we did. So let me go over those exceptions that may apply. One is a sensitive location. I've already mentioned that we don't have those kind of resources here. People have mentioned that we're losing trees, but we're also replacing those, and those are landscape type trees. And so we don't find that to be a significant impact. There's another possible exception of cumulative impacts. If you had this project plus many other projects in the area, we would want to look at traffic, for example, from the generation of all of those projects. Well, we don't have that situation, and so we don't have to worry about this exception. The third exception is significant impacts. And so we spent more time on this in the attachment. This is where we looked at traffic, because you are changing the drop-off and pickup zones. So we had a traffic engineer take a look at that. How is that flowing? Does it work right? How does that relate to the street, the public street? And so he confirmed that we didn't have any impacts. Things work well, and that's not a problem. We also have to look to see if we have a hazardous waste site. In other words, it's possible that this particular site where we're going to put this theater might have contamination. Okay. So we look and we make sure that we check databases to make sure we're not on the list. We also look in the area around it, and nothing there would create a significant impact. So again, that exception does not apply. Then the other one, the very last one, historic resources. There are no significant historic resources on site. No impacts would occur. So after looking at the classifications, checking all the exceptions, we found that none would preclude us to use the exemption. So as a result, we prepared the Notice of Exemption, which is before you tonight. And if you approve the exemption, then approve the project, we would then file the Notice of Exemption, and that ends the CEQA process. And that concludes my presentation. I'm glad to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Mr. Mears. Madam President, that concludes our formal information for you. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Please use your hand, raising your hand on the screen so I can see it, and then Superintendent Lee-Sung can also keep me apprised of any other hands. So Trustee Barto.
Thank you. I found the hand button. My screen was minimized. I just wanted to clarify because I had a lot of these questions and I went through the Understanding CEQA Exemptions book that we got, which was very helpful. But I wanted to just kind of get some clarification on how school districts are different and how what an EIR is, kind of taking it to basics, because I feel like this, every time we go through this, we get kind of a lot of questions. So could you just explain why we don't need an environmental impact report or review, what those exemptions entail, and then how for schools we have specific requirements?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure I understand the second part of the question in terms of specific requirements for schools, but essentially, I mean, I've gone over the categorical exemptions, and those are basically the legislature gives us guidelines. They're called the CEQA guidelines. They modify these quite often, but they create these classifications that say basically, if you've got a project that fits one of those classifications, you should be exempt. And again, it's possible that you might kind of have an exception that throws you out of that exemption. But as I've explained here, we've reviewed all the possibilities and we don't find that in this location. And so that's the reason why we have prepared a notice of exemption. And in terms of specific requirements for schools, let me think, I'll try to think through that. The school district is a lead agency under CEQA. That's, you know, you've got that. And so CEQA applies to the school and your decisions. And essentially what CEQA is doing is saying, well, you need to pay attention to the environmental consequences of your actions, and approving this project would you know, be an action that you need to review. And so in that case, you're like any other lead agency. These are your responsibilities and your authority to do this. So those aren't really special requirements for a school district. There are, and you may be referring to, there are additional requirements for school facilities having to do with Title V, the California Code of Regulations, but those are more to do with the siting of a new school, and specifically they get triggered when you're using state funds, or and those additional studies that we might do in that situation would be looking at things like proximity to a freeway, proximity to power lines, gas lines, EMF exposure. So a lot of risk issues that we would deal with if your project involves state funds.
Thank you. We've got a couple new trustees coming on, so I just wanted to kind of break down those questions because I know that will help them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are any other questions? I see none. So moving on, can I have a motion, please? Trustee, I think Trustee Snell, would you like to make the motion, please?
I certainly would. And I'd like to speak to my motion too. I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 17-12-20, finding the Estancia Theater project exempt from CEQA and approving filing and recordation of a notice of exemption.
Second.
Okay.
And I'd like to, yeah, can I speak to my motion?
Yeah, so let me restate it. So it's been moved by Trustee Snell and seconded by Trustee Metoyer. Okay. Trustee Snell.
Thank you. I think you all know how strongly I feel about this. I don't think there's any reason to delay move forward with the exemption on this project. The trees that are going to be removed, the majority of them are diseased and will be replaced by new trees. The open area currently for students will be replaced with a more student-friendly area with more seating and with trees. A no vote on this resolution robs our Estancia zone students from equal access to a theater, which all the other zones currently have. We have waited since 2006, and we were delayed. We ran out of money, and now it's time for us to have a theater. Chris Ray and Pauline Meridian, they put it best. Students need to come first. And we need to make it possible for our current students who are freshmen to experience this. And to delay it is, to delay this part of the process is dangerous because we don't know what the future holds. And I am concerned that construction costs could go up. We don't know. We've got the money now. We need to move forward. And I encourage everyone to vote for this. Thank you.
Okay, so it's been moved by Trustee Snell and seconded by Trustee Matoye to adopt Resolution 17-12-20, finding the Estancia High School Theater Project exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act and approving the filing and recordation of a notice of exemption. Roll call, please.
Trustee Floor,
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey,
Yes.
Trustee Black,
Yes.
Trustee Barto,
While I do think this project is important, I have to vote no because I think that delaying the vote 6 days to give the new board who ultimately benefit from the onboarding that this whole CEQA thing came up when I was on board and it took me about a year to catch up. So I do have to vote no. I think we should have waited for the 15th. Thank you.
Trustee Anderson,
No.
Trustee Snell,
Yes.
Trustee Matoye.
Okay, motion carries 5-2. Item number 8B, approve amendment number 1 with Placeworks for Theater at Estancia High School. Superintendent Lee Sung.
Move approval of the amendment.
Trustee Black moved. Trustee,
Second, I wasn't mute. I was on.
yeah,
I was
Trustee Matoye seconded. Superintendent Lee Sung.
Okay, I will turn this over to Mr. Holcomb if there's any additional information you'd like to add on this item.
No additional information. I hope that the background that we wrote with the item is sufficient, but we're happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I see no lights. Did you put your hand up?
She's trying.
Okay, Trustee Anderson.
Using today. Okay. I just wanted to ask why this item is not on the December 15th agenda.
We brought this item to you tonight so that it would be concurrent with the item that you just acted on. It was not ready in time for your most recent meeting, and therefore it made sense to bring it concurrently with the notice of exemption this evening.
Is there a reason why A8 wasn't brought on December 15th?
Perhaps I can answer that. I believe that it is incumbent upon this existing board who has seen this project all the way through. It was voted on by this board in totality, a 7-0 vote on December 7th, 2019. And this is the culmination of all of the hard work that our staff, our community, and these board members that are sitting here. And it's only fit and right that this board take responsibility for these actions.
Okay, so it was the board, not staff. Okay, thank you.
That is correct. It was my discussion with Superintendent Lee Sung that felt that it needed to be done by the actions of this board and not a future board. Thank you. Trustee Snell.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Mrs. Floor, because I am very disturbed and insulted by the new members of this board who feel that someone, the 3 new members that have just been elected, should have the final say on a project that we have been working on for years. A project that from all the reports that you have gotten has been vetted. We have had consultants. We have had a community committee, and for you to sit there and want to wait 5 more days for brand new trustees to come in, I'm insulted. I am disappointed, and I guess you will not know how this feels until you have been on the board for the amount of time that many of us have, and you have new people come in and act like you're not doing the right thing. I'm sorry, all your questions. I mean, we have discussed this ad nauseum. And if you don't understand the need for this theater by this point, I can only think that this is completely political. It's you're flexing your muscles. I don't know what it is, but you don't care about children. And I'm really disappointed. It passed anyway, but I'm disappointed in you too.
Thank you. Okay, so it's been moved by Trustee Black and seconded by Trustee Matoye to approve amendment number 1 with placeworks for the theater at Estancia High School. Roll call.
Point of order. I had my hand up again. I just have one more question about the contract.
I don't see, you know, I asked specifically to please put your hand, raise your hand on the thing. I apologize again, Trustee Anderson, but I'm not paying attention to out here because we're talking to the community. So again, I will recognize you.
It's up on the screen, but I appreciate that. Okay, the question that I have is there's table 1. It says identify trees and review impacts. So part of my question also is if this came in November 4th, is there a reason that it wasn't on the November 15th meeting, or this given to us before the December 3rd meeting about Estancia?
So the December meeting or the November meeting, I believe was on the 17th, and the board's agendas are always basically in place 2 weeks and more. We need to have things in place because of all of the work that goes into creating your agendas. This item was not in time for the board process for the November 15th meeting, and that's the reason it didn't show up at that meeting.
Okay, it came in on November 4th. So for me, I would just love in the future if we can try to get them in as soon as possible, because I think it's really relevant. Thank you.
So it's been moved again. So roll call, please.
Trustee Floor,
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey,
Yes.
Trustee Black,
Yes.
Trustee Barto,
Yes.
Trustee Anderson,
We didn't hear you. It didn't
I
show.
know I don't know why my screen's freezing. Yes.
Trustee Snell,
Yes.
Trustee Matoye.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Congratulations. Thank you, and congratulations to the Estancia High School and surrounding communities for getting this project. And I know that the outgoing trustees, Trustee Snell, Trustee Black, and Trustee Floor or myself will be very anxious, and we expect to be invited to the ribbon cutting ceremony. We are just thrilled. And again, thank you, Tim, Dwayne, Ara, and the entire, and Pfeiffer, and everybody that's been involved in this. It's going to be a gorgeous project. And we're very excited about that. Okay, so moving on to item 8C, adoption of revision of board bylaws 9150, student board members. I want to thank Trustee Barto and Trustee Snell for participating, as well as I know that there was Trustee Yelsey involved in the initial one. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Trustee Barto, because she's the lead carryover, as well as Trustee Snell. So Trustee Snell, do you want to talk, or do you want?
You're fading in and out.
Trustee Snell, do you want to be involved and present this, as well as Trustee Barto?
No, Trustee Barto can present it.
Great. Okay, Trustee Barto.
And Trustee Anderson had her hand up over a previous item.
Yeah, I just wanted to, if we were going to clarify about the fence piece of it before we moved on, but my thing was freezing for the previous item.
We've moved on, and so I apologize, but I see two hands right now. I see an Anderson and a Latoya.
Right. So I thought it would be important to clarify about the fence, since it initially was the whole perimeter and it's not currently. So I thought that's an important point.
Okay, Tim, would you read that sentence where it talks about in the CEQA document, the exact, what it involves? So it's a clarification, because I believe you read it already once to us about.
Pardon me, give me 1 second, Ms. Fleur. I put
Sure.
that information away. I will bring it back out. In the attachment to the notice of exemption, you will see on the second page, the second paragraph states, a new 8-foot tall ornamental metal security fence will be installed around the perimeter of the project.
Great. Thank you. I think that clarifies it. Okay, moving on. Trustee Barto, do you want to present this?
Yes, so we have this past year rolled out our updated student board member program. And what is really cool this year as well is the state of California will be offering a seal of civic engagement. So we feel this was, it can go on your high school diploma, and we felt that this was a really great thing to tie into this program, because the reason that we revamped it was to allow for greater civic engagement among high school students. And I think we've really seen that over the past year. It's been really wonderful to watch. With that, we needed to update our board policy bylaw to allow for the involvement of the student board members in the way that we have kind of worked out that allows them to be civically engaged to participate while balancing their lives and schedules as high school students. So would you like me to read the policy, Trustee Fleur?
Can we put the policy up? Is there a way to put the policy up? Okay. I do want to publicly thank Susan Fish, our interim board administrative assistant, executive assistant, because she did a yeoman's duty. And I think this is a first for all of us, that there hasn't been a typographical. So we're not having to wordsmith at all. So we really appreciate it.
And that's what my hand was up for, so you don't need to call on me now.
Okay, great. Are there any, so we did change and put the word civic engagement in the policy because of specifically that we will be able to offer it, and it's a local decision on what the requirements are, other than they have to know U.S. Constitution and such. So we're really excited that they potentially could qualify for that seal on there. So any other questions regarding it?
And I thought I'd just point out a couple things that were slightly different than the application and things that we talked through. One of them that goes through is if you get down to election of student board member, that last section, the student board members will serve a 1-year term from July 1st through June 30th. Our application and the process that we had adapted from Placer Union High School District was August 1st through June 30th. However, it would not be a one-year term. We'd have an 11-month term. So for the purpose of a policy, we decided to make it an actual one-year term, July 1st through June 30th. However, their duties will begin in August. And we can adjust that as needs be, but since it's a board policy, we want to make sure that it's consistent with a one-year term and the dates that match. Trustee Anderson?
Thank you. That was so fast. I thought that Trustee Matoye was for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. She corrected it. She didn't. She wanted to comment.
Okay.
I
Just wanted to say how impressed I was at the accuracy of the
Gotcha.
state.
Thanks.
I just wanted to ask a clarifying question under the role and responsibilities of the student board members. Student board members shall have the right to attend all board meetings except closed session. And I was just wondering, because I see this as the board policy, if we're going to do an AR or if we should do an administrative regulation about the timing, because I know there are certain times that we have meetings, perhaps when the students are in school. So if we're asking them, or they have the right to attend all board meetings, will they be excused from class, or how will we be conducting that?
Discuss that about the possibility of giving them, didn't we had that conversation about excusing them from class if they needed to do that?
Yes, we decided not to lock ourselves specifically into the times that we would need to do that, so that if we had a meeting and it was during the day, they could be able to attend and be excused, with the understanding that we have to work with the majority of the board schedules.
But again, this is relative to regularly scheduled board meetings, and our regular scheduled board meetings have set times. It was all of the other additional events or items that they could attend if they chose to, and that we would work with them about excusing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Mrs. Bartow, Mrs. Snell, and Mrs. Anderson, I think, was involved in some of this. I think it's really well done. And, this is the first year, as we all know, that we've done this. And I think so far it's gone really well. And the students are following pretty much what's said in here. So I think they've taken this on as a real responsibility. And in terms of the change in timing, it was only because we started so late this year and then COVID started that we didn't have them in starting at the first of our year as well. So I look forward to continuing on. I think we had a great first year start.
I also wanted to make a note of one change that's different from previous policies, and that's the fact that in the past, our immediate past president has worked and mentored with the student board members, and we felt in discussion that it was best served if it was the vice president. So you will see that is a change, that it would be the vice president who would be the chief contact.
Yes, and we felt that because of so much of their need to understand the agenda and what was happening in a timely fashion, and along with the policies and things that were currently in place, that would be a good role, because we imagine the president will be too busy to fulfill those duties.
Great. Okay, so may I have a motion, please? Did you have your hand up, Trustee?
Oh, I'm raising.
Thanks.
I move that we approve board policy 91, board bylaws 9150, student board members. Presented.
Okay.
Second,
Okay, so it's been moved by Trustee Matoye and
I second it.
second by Trustee Yelsey to adopt the revision of Board Policy 9150, student board members. Roll call, please.
Trustee Fleur,
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey,
Yes.
Trustee Black,
Yes.
Trustee Bartow,
Yes.
Trustee Anderson,
Yes.
Trustee Snell,
Yes.
Trustee Matoye.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 7-0. Terrific. Hot dog. Okay, item number 8D is adopt the 2020 Board Governance Handbook. Again, this has been a long time coming, long time. It's not that we haven't had one, but this is much more robust, and it's a loose end. So we're finishing it up now, so this will be in place for the new board members. So I want to thank Trustee Anderson and Trustee Barto, who began the process and worked through it, as well as I will tell you that it's gone through rigorous look at by our attorney to make sure that we are in compliance, and as well as Superintendent Lee Sung. And we've got it so that if there are any questions, I think we can answer them. So Superintendent Lee Sung, do you want to start this off and see whether we can get this done?
Yes, had a little trouble with my mute button. Anyways, I do want to share my full support of this handbook. One of the goals that we have all together is working together as an effective governance team. Certainly, I know my important role in that, and a document like this, I think, really helps us as a team. I also look forward to working with our 3 new trustees who know that this document is coming, and it will, again, help guide our work and establish protocols. And I know that when we first looked at this a while back with a consultant from CSBA, Deb Dudley, and we talked about creating this and providing this information, not only to ourselves as a team, but also for future trustees. So I'm really pleased that we've gotten to this point where we are considering it. And I also want to add that for staff, this is very important. Even though this is a governance handbook, it really helps throughout the entire district, the entire organization, to know what the expectations and protocols are. So I appreciate the work that everybody's done with this and fully support the handbook.
Couple of things. One is the formatting. I trust that once it's been adopted, any typos, I'm sure that if we haven't caught them, they will be caught by eagle eye fish, or fish eye fish. I don't know which way. So we'll do that, and the formatting, and we'll make sure that that's done. I also want to make note that at the suggestion of Trustee Anderson and Trustee Barto, there will be a number of appendices that will be added, i.e. there will be the contact list, there will be the organizational charts, there will be the board bylaws, there will be the superintendent and anybody that's under contract. All of those items will be as appendices, including the travel reimbursement, mileage, all of those that fall under other processes and procedures. So those will be all appendices.
And the civility code.
The civility code is already listed. It will be it's part of the district policies, and so you'll receive that. It will be received. They will receive all the policies as well, and access to those. So I just wanted to let everybody know that they were just not, it's too long to put in here, so they will be appendices. So we will go to Trustee Matoya. You have a couple of questions? So can you put it up, Russell? Maybe the best thing to do is to sort of put it up and go through it page by page and see if there's any comments.
We'll have it at the ready. It might be too long to go through it page by page, but we'll have it ready.
Okay.
Well, unmute, Charlotte.
It's me. I didn't do it.
There you go.
I did. Okay. Let me know if I fade away again. Thank you for this. The work was Herculean. I can speak as a board member who was a lone person coming on. This would have been very helpful for me because as a former employee for the district, everyone assumed I knew everything and I knew so little. I would, however, in a future edition of this, add the sample committee list of all the committees that we have to do in a section on being part of a committee. So that would be something to add, not today, but I'd like that. Then I'm looking at the new version, and on page 19 of the newest version that Rosie gave to us today, under board unity and support vote for the board, it's talking about when a decision is reached and then we muster up and go through. And while I don't think that this should be added, but it should be discussed that we don't bring it, if we don't like what happened and it didn't go, we don't bring it up at every meeting afterwards to complain about the fact that we made this decision. So I don't know how that could happen, but.
Well, but I won't be there. So I won't be able to complain about Davis Magnet School. So I won't be on your.
Or the logo, or the logo. So, or the logo. So, well, that'll speed things along a little bit. Thank you, Mrs. Floor. My next comment, and this one I think should be added on page 20. Oh. It may be something that we can verbally onboard. I don't think it needs to be written down. It makes us look really bad. But I think that should be part of our practices. So just take note that I'm thinking that way. Page 22, under during board meetings. It is the 9th bullet where it says board members remain behind the dais or the board table except for personal or medical necessity. When that first came out, I didn't understand that it was where our cabinet usually sits, because we do come off the dais to do presentations and we are a little bit out. So I wanted to have it read, except for personal or medical necessities or during assigned presentations, because that covers us. And are attentive throughout the board meeting, no napping. Okay, that was good. And then, oh, anybody?
Any comments about adding?
Oh, thank you, thumbs up.
Okay, perfect, great.
And then on page 24, there's two. Earlier, we had role of the board president during board meetings. And for clarification's sake, we have role of the board president again. I would like a parentheses to say not at board meetings, or something with much more clear verbiage. Yeah, a parenthetical thing. Because the role of the president during the board meetings was outside of that, the president does have a role, and these are them, but for clarification, I would.
Would it be best to eliminate the words chair additional meetings as assigned?
No, because role of the board president there is talking about, everything under there is just fine. Just a clarification that outside of a board meeting, the board president also does these things, and it wasn't in the same section. I mean, either move the whole section, but.
Just have a section for board meetings and then it falls under that.
Either that or this is the role of the board president outside of a board meeting. They model they serve as spokesperson of the board. All of that is part of the board meeting. It's when you go to the grocery store, yeah, or when someone sends us a communique, typically, and that will bring my second comment. Okay, see where it says role of the board president? Uh-huh.
Page 23, it says the role of the board at board meetings will open and preside over the meeting.
Right.
Setting its chair.
I'm not complaining about that, but
On 24, it says chair meetings.
Well,
Now, you want to change that to say other than board meetings?
no, I want the title up at the top where it says role of the board president to be excluding board meetings. I mean, how do you want to put that outside of the realm of a board meeting? All of these duties.
Okay,
other than chair meetings, you can take chair meetings out of that if you want, or it's there and then you look up over here, well, I'm now the president, how do I behave as a board member, board meeting? You know what I mean?
Like non-meeting role of board president?
Thank you. I pick better words, but if I'm brand new coming on the board, I'm going, why did they put this twice?
Okay, got it.
Okay, then on that same page, under official board correspondence, pull it down. To the school system are answered by the board president or designee. Because sometimes when we get a plethora, we are asked, could you please answer the ones from your zone? Officially speak for the board.
What page is that?
Page 24, the third section down, official board correspondence.
Second bullet. I have,
Letters and emails.
oh, got it. Okay.
To thank Ms. Anderson, Mrs. Bartow, and Mrs. Floor / Mrs. Snell. Didn't both of you, didn't it switch? Anyway, everybody who worked on this, thank you very much, because this is got to be a big help.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay, trustee Bartow.
Thank you. I had a couple of the same ones, so that will speed us up a little bit. We wanted to clarify, because this one is always confusing when you're a new board member, on page 18, regarding the norms, where we say no engagement with speakers during public comment, no dialogue. Maybe that's something that, again, is a verbal kind of agreement that we have, or we clarify that, because when you're new, it looks kind of cold if you don't interact with the public. But then sometimes we do interact with the public and it can be confusing. So just some way to clarify when it's appropriate and who's going to do so and things like that. I think that one gets sticky.
Yeah, and I think that the best way to clarify it would be that per the Ralph M. Brown Act, because that is the guiding document that prohibits us from, and that'll also be an appendix, is the Ralph M. Brown Act. But I think that that's a point well taken, is that it's not that we don't want to have public engagement, and it's really with community, because sometimes our speakers are speaking at presentations, so it's actually no engagement with community members.
And I think putting that in per the Ralph M. Brown Act clarifies
Per
it
the Ralph M.
nicely,
Brown
because
Act.
that's the reason why.
So perhaps that we can put down, and this is as, you know, this is, so perhaps you can change that to community members. It's on page 18. It's the third bullet, the fourth circle dot. And these are actually agreements that are published. So these are the protocols that are published, but I think for clarification, that's a really good one.
And then my next one is page 19. It's the 4th bullet, 6th bullet from the bottom, right above board and staff communications. Or actually right below board/board and board/superintendent communication. So we've got critical to effective governance is good communication. The board desires to be informed and aware of what is positive and any issues or concerns. I think that the intent is there, but maybe we just clarify that a little bit, because desires sounds like we're really happy to be here. We'd like to know, you know, I just feel like maybe saying.
You want to change it to should?
Should or shall. Should or shall, any of those.
What page is that?
Page 19, the first bullet under board/board and board/board superintendent communication.
Yeah, let's do should be, and then just eliminate desires and should say the board should be informed and aware of what is positive and any issues or concerns.
Yeah.
Does that work?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so then moving on to page 20. Let's see, it's quite a few, but I think The first bullet and the last bullet kind of go together. I need a little bit of clarification perhaps. So the first bullet is an employee or district official may engage in separate conversations with board members at the direction of the superintendent in order to answer questions or provide information regarding an item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board, as long as that employee or district official does not communicate the comments or position of any board members to other board members. So I think that's another Brown Act one that we need to reference as to why, so people know that it's not to just because we don't want to have a conversation. And then the last one, board members should not undertake independent inquiry, and explain kind of, maybe we need to clarify what that conflict of interest entails, and again, how it applies to the Brown Act. So I think since both of those, we just need to words, maybe Spencer can help us with those a little bit because
Perfect.
those are the legal ones that could get us into trouble.
Got it.
Let's see. 21, bottom of page 21. So the last two bullets are the consideration of new items or agenda items will be based on. I think those are all good bullets and pretty consistent with what we do, but maybe as Charlene suggests, or Trustee Metoyer suggested, that's something we have as a way we talk about it, because I think that's another one that's super confusing is how do you get an item on the agenda? Yep. So maybe just to clarify that, just so people know the proper way to do so.
Yes, and there is, we have a board policy on that, but you guys, the new board will have to have addressed some of these.
So maybe we just like put reference C board policy, whatever number that is.
Perfect. That's a good idea.
And if we want to change it, we can.
Okay.
All right, so the page 22, third bullet from the bottom, use of the internet except to view the Board of Education online meeting agenda and agendized presentations, email, texting, and other electronic messaging on any device or computer is prohibited by board members during board meetings. This includes reading, sending, or receiving data and messages. I think we should just clarify this because sometimes we do have to pull up things on the internet to look at additional reports or additional things. Just maybe refine that language a little bit. And then going all the way, let's see, kind of skipping ahead because it's the same kind of thing, is page 25, first bullet. That was just clarified as well by a law related to the Brown Act regarding social media. So I think if we could get Spencer's expertise on how to appropriately manage that, because there's a right way that we have to word it now per whatever that law says.
Perfect, because I went to the training on this, and there's now new laws that actually says that if a board member posts anything on Facebook or any social media, and another board member comments on it, that is considered a Brown Act violation. And if one board member has a conversation with two board members, that potentially is a Brown Act violation because you're acting as a hub and disseminating information. So my suggestion is, like we did last year, Superintendent Lee-Sung, is that you schedule a Brown Act training, and I believe Tony DeMarco does an excellent job and did that last year for the board, and it would be a great benefit to the new board members to have that, as well as the document that CSBA can get you. Okay.
And then I think I just have two more, 3 more, and then that's it. So then you can move on to other people. Also on page 25, board members will contact, under visiting schools, district departments, and facilities, board members will contact the superintendent to schedule an appointment with a school principal, director, and other district staff when they would like to visit schools. Maybe we want to talk about how we do that. I know currently I endeavor to notify when I have any meetings with the superintendent that that's the case, but I don't know, Mr. Mr. Lee-Sung, if you want to be the conduit for that, or if you want to be notified, or how that works best for you. So I thought you could revisit that and talk about how that is best for you.
Okay. Yeah, at this point, I prefer to be the conduit to schedule those meetings. I do want to say that, our sites, when a board member comes to the school site, it's a big deal. I know you guys all, hey, we're just regular people, we're here. It's a big deal. And so we would really prefer to be the conduit to schedule this.
And then let's skip. Oh, also kind of tied to that is the page 26, community visibility, second bullet. I don't think we do this right now, is trustees will inform the superintendent by email or calling when they are participating in community events. You probably hear about that through the grapevine, but I don't know that we specifically send you an email when we go to a play or anything. So I don't know if we want to keep that or if we just want to enforce it, whatever.
We've got to get our homework done.
Yeah. Okay, and then going down to 27, managing among board members, bullet number 3. Trustees will endeavor to maintain neutral body language and tone during deliberations. I think we maybe just take that out because I feel like I'm parenting somebody if I don't know how everyone else feels, but to me that just sort of felt like I expect that a professional level of behavior, and I don't feel like I need to spell that out.
Yeah, that was actually in the board adopt that we had when we had Deb Dudley. That was actually approved at the protocols. I'm assuming that you will have another new, a new setting, new board member training process, so that some of these may in fact be changed because of just your, just the new way of how you're going to operate. So, I would say keep it there until you have a conversation with Deb and you start establishing your own protocols and norms of how you want to operate as a board.
Could we change that to say maybe trustees will endeavor to maintain professionalism throughout the meeting?
Yeah, I think
that sounds good.
That's nice. Okay, so my last one is 27, last bullet. In addition, the superintendent or board president may contact district legal counsel to provide the board with legal information or advice when so directed by a majority of the board. I feel like when I was a brand new board member, I didn't understand how having a district legal counsel worked. And so there are some things on which, I've spoken directly with Spencer and Mr. Lee-Sung when I had an issue, different kinds of things. Maybe we just either explain this in person or clarify this, because I feel like that gets really confusing really fast.
Well, and I think the intent is that because they are on contract, and if Spencer's still there, I love you, Spencer, anyway, but he runs a business. And on many times we get criticized for having high legal expenses. And so it's always incumbent upon us to work with the superintendent. If we have a question, is to go to the superintendent and say, is this something that needs to be contacted through legal counsel? And I think that the intent was also that if the majority of the board felt this was really important, that sometimes, for example, superintendent contracts. It's not something that we want to have a conversation with Spencer about, with our superintendent, but you need to have a conversation. So the majority of the board says, board president, board executive committee, you need to have a conversation with our legal counsel in regards to that. And you're going to be coming up with that because you will be dealing with that as you launch a search. So that's why that is. But that's a good point, and I hope that you'll take note of that and also invite Spencer in and have that conversation.
My very last itty bitty tiny note is on page 29, the second bullet. Incoming members will be enrolled in California School Boards Association new board member training, Masters in Governance program, and any other workshop and conferences relevant to their needs. Will just seems like a mandate. I assume every incoming board member would want those things, but I also feel like maybe we put may or shall or has the ability to or is encouraged to, something that other than will. Because
Well,
Go ahead.
Specifically the Masters in Governance, because what if people didn't want to do it right off the bat? It's easier now that it's online.
Yes, much easier now that it's online, you guys. Although I have to tell you, when I did that, it was scheduled out for a year, and it was a great time because I went with two of us went with the superintendent, and it was a great time to bond and form a, that was good. I think the intent of this was to have a level of expectation, because the Masters in Governance training, they cover stuff that we forget about because it's just routine. And it also creates an opportunity to network with other local board members. So that's another good thing. But if we say we'll be afforded the opportunity, I don't know that maybe not in the first year. Maybe we should make it so that it isn't mandated there your very first year. It's sort of like BITSA is overwhelming for brand new teachers, and yet we make sure they get into it right away. But how could we word this so it doesn't sound like you will do this?
Something like within their first term, board members will attend.
Or are recommended to enroll.
Recommended.
Yeah,
That's
highly recommended. I mean, it was really invaluable. I'm glad I did it. I just don't want to feel like I'm
Enrollment in blah, 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 is highly recommended, blah, blah, blah. Something like those things. Highly recommended doesn't sound like you expect it, which is good. But it's not nasty. You're the most recent, how would you take it?
highly recommended. I would do it, but that's because if someone
think
highly
recommended
recommends I do
is-
something, I'll do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Is that, are those, that's it. Okay. Trustee Anderson, you have your hand up?
Sure.
Your turn.
And I don't want to take a lot of time because I know it's getting late, and I think it sounds like there's like some edits, and we'll probably be discussing some of these with the new board members as they come in, because I think they might have some questions and it will be good to go over and clarify. I know for Trustee Bartow and I, we would have loved a document like this. So on page 4, the 4th bullet down, school boards, I love this section. I think it's really important why school boards are important. I don't like this sentence though, that a school board's only function is the education of our students. Above it says the education of students is the only focus of locally elected board members. I would say a school board's most important function is the education of our students. There's a couple of places where school board is not capitalized, so I just think we need to be consistent
Yeah, we need to be
throughout.
consistent. Yeah, we found that. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I have a question. I have a question about, it doesn't feel like that's our only function. If it's not our only function, then the most important function should be changed. I wanted to defer to somebody who's been on the board longer than me. Ladies. Ladies on the dais. What do you think?
I actually just took this from the board policies that were in existence, so it can be changed. This is from the Newport-Mesa governance team.
Most important. I'm good with that. Thanks, Ms. Trustee Anderson.
Great. And then, yeah, I do think like just kind of cleaning up, like, so this on page 9, there's a big heading. So if we can make, some of the sections have clear headings, I think it's helpful for finding things. And then I just too, like, one of the things that I think is really important, page 13 is a lot, page 13 and 14 is a lot of what is gone over, and 15 in Masters in Governance. And some of this, like, I'm glad we're doing this, so as they're coming in, they know, but I think it deserves to be stated and reiterated that the board and the superintendent must be working together. It is not that the superintendent is in charge or the board. It's like one of the things for me that has been frustrating, and I think I have maybe a difference of opinion and understanding on some of this, but the role of the board, as stated again on this page, on page 4, school board members come from the community and are the eyes, ears, and voice of the community. And so I want us to make sure as we have this, that as we're implementing it, that is true, because it's been difficult in the past to get things on the agenda. It's been difficult to have meetings with principals. It's been difficult to communicate. And we're supposed to be the eyes and the ears, and we should not necessarily have people telling us what we can't do all the time. It is very frustrating to me, and I don't think that is our role. So a lot of the changes that I wanted to make have already been updated, but I think if these are addressed, I think as a board and discussed, kind of going back and forth. We had Deb Dudley that one time come and talk to us, but again, it's 2 years now that Trustee Barton and I have been on the board, and some of these are just getting ironed out. So I'm glad that we're doing this. I'm really thankful, and to me, this is a bit of a maybe second draft, and it needs to be finalized when we have the new trustees come in.
Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
I do want to point out on page 15 and on 16 and on 17. One is the discussion of roles and responsibilities. The first sentence is, it is vital that the board and superintendent have a respectful and productive working relationship based on trust and other communications. And then it was also listed, which was also adopted by with Deb Dudley, is what does the board need from the superintendent in order to fulfill its responsibilities? And there's a number of listed of information there. And then secondarily, on page 16, it's what does the superintendent need from the board in order to fulfill his responsibilities? And we should put his or her, by the way. And then there was clear on that. And then on page 17, again, this was the agreements. Our agreements to facilitate governance leadership. And the very first sentence says the Board of Education for the Newport-Mesa Unified School District is entrusted by the community to uphold the Constitution and the United States, et cetera, et cetera. And then the second paragraph says the board and superintendent must function together as a governance leadership team in order to effectively meet the district's challenges. Agreed upon norms, behaviors, procedures, and protocols support consistent behaviors and actions among team members. The purpose of the Newport-Mesa Governance Action Team Agreements is to ensure a positive, productive working relationship among board members, the superintendent, district staff, students, and the community. The following norms were developed for and by members of the governance team and may be modified. So again, multiple times it is indicated that the board and the superintendent must work together. And so I think that it's very clearly stated that those are there, and I think that that's perfect. Thank you, Trustee Anderson. Trustee Yelsey.
I just had a question on where we are putting this. Will it be on the website? Are we distributing it? How?
Yes, it should be on the website. It can go on the website. Yes, it will go under the board's documentation.
It would be so helpful if you're thinking about becoming a school board. Because it's really hard to figure out when a board member is told you've got 30 hours a week commitment. You kind of look at the person going, yeah, well, I won't have to do that. And then you find out, you're right, I have 38 hours of work. So, okay, thank you.
Yes, okay. So we need a motion to approve this.
But we aren't.
We aren't going to approve it?
Trustee Anderson just proposed that I thought that this was, the other one was the first draft. This is like a second draft, and we wait to get input from the new board because there's some clarification.
So you wanted to, so
I have a question.
I mean, I think that this has been a long time coming. This was, again, this is an agreement that this board worked on. To amend it, I think is fabulous, but I think that this should be approved as the document of this governance team. Whatever you do in the future, there will be amendments, there will be changes, but I think that going forward right now, this is a good beginning, and it should be something that it's a jumping off point. So
you're right. I think maybe a new board member might need a few months of experience to know what they don't know yet, to be able to edit. You're
So,
right.
so
I rescind my question.
I would
Yeah,
like,
if I may add my thoughts on that. First of all, I do believe that we need to have a document and have it approved that we can officially share with our 3 new trustees. Something that's very important for me and for staff is I would love to share it with them. And if it's still in draft form, I'm not comfortable doing that. But here's, I think, a very important thing, and several of you have said this, is that when our new trustees come on board and we have, quote unquote, the new board together, we do need to spend time together. And I've heard that from several new trustees as well as current and returning trustees, that we need to spend time together. I'm still new in my role. We're going to constitute a new board, a new governance team. I think we all have an interest to do that. And with the understanding that this document will evolve and will change. And I think with that, at least if we can start with something official, but knowing that it can change in the future, I think that would be very helpful.
okay, so again,
The concern though that I have, I respect that. I think one of the concerns though that I have is the communication piece, because when I was coming in as a new trustee, it didn't feel like I had access, and it was very difficult to communicate with district staff. And so it's something that is still a struggle. So the communication piece for me, I think I would like, we're supposed to be having a study session in January that I believe is about organizational management and how we'll be setting the goals for the year. So I would like to submit that we review it at that time,
Yeah,
rather than pushing it out further than that.
Yeah, I don't want to be presumptive with what the topic is for the January study session. We do have a date.
Those are planning.
Well, we need to have a January goal setting meeting, because we didn't have that the first year that
Yeah.
Trustee Bartow and I were here, and it was very difficult. So it's something that, again, these are conversations that when the new board comes in, we need to have, rather than talking about them.
okay. Trustee Yelsey,
Yeah, after listening to all this, I would prefer that we approve it to have something that we can put on the website, people can read it. It doesn't mean that we can't come back in January and make revisions, because we already have some revisions that we want to put on here, so they could be done. But it's something that we can put out there. I think this is really thorough overall, and it's important for the new board members to have something. And if we're not going, I would like to make a motion to adopt the 2020 Board Governance Handbook.
And I'll second it.
Mute.
it's been moved by Trustee Yelsey and seconded by Trustee Black to approve the governance handbook for 2021. Trustee Snell, you have your hand up. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I was just going to call for the question. So
Okay.
thank you, Karen.
Okay.
Oops.
Is that with the suggested revisions that we discussed tonight, or without? With, okay.
Correct.
Got it.
With. Okay. Roll call, please.
Can I,
Trustee Floor,
Yes.
oh, thank you, go ahead.
Trustee Yelsey,
Yes.
Trustee Black,
Yes.
Trustee Bartow,
yes.
Trustee Anderson,
Yes.
Trustee Snell,
Yes.
Trustee Matoye.
Yes.
That concludes our general special meeting. We
have two comments, and as well as I have a couple of final words. There still remains a couple of loose ends that I want to make you guys aware of. Is in 2021, you will need to be focusing again on redistricting. Because the census was completed this year, and the agreement is that we now must do it every 10 years at the end of I spoke with Matt Eimers, who works for the city, the county in that area, and he is willing to help us with that. And so I know that we have 3 board members who are out of work right now, so we will, but I want to make sure of that. Final comment is that for those of you, we really will need the existing board members to assist the new board members coming in, because they're coming into a board and a governance model that is unlike a normal governance model. Decisions and conversations, and we've had to become very involved in decisions and conversations that normally a board doesn't get involved with, because we hire a superintendent and we have staff to do it. But these are extraordinary times. And so it's incumbent upon you as existing board members to help them understand that this is different. This is not how a normal board member governs, with everything from Zoom meetings, closed session. All of this is so completely different that we really need to do that. And on behalf of the 3 outgoing board members, Trustee Snell, Trustee Black, and myself, don't forget us. We are here to help you. Any of the new trustees, to make you and to assist you in making decisions and helping you guide you, as well as we want you to be all successful, and to also to support you and make the district the best district it is. And so with that, we have 2 comments regarding on the special agenda item number 9. So trustee, I believe it's Trustee Anderson, you have the first comment.
Yes. The comment is from Leslie Lintal. The superintendent demonstrates non-responsiveness to questions from the community on facility impacts to residents. Specifically, will Newport-Mesa widen the sidewalk surrounding Corona Del Mar High School? The current width is not in compliance with ADA.
Okay, and Trustee Barto?
My community member is Elizabeth S. I ask that the board open up the position of superintendent to a national search immediately. This is the right thing to do. As a district, we deserve to see what qualified candidates are out there. The current superintendent has failed us several times since taking the position, didn't apply for waiver, failed 4x4 model, failed start date for middle school and high school, weak relationship with the teacher union. He was also part of the district's past problems as well. Swan Math is one example. The community has lost faith with the current leadership. It is time for a fresh new leader.
Great, thank you. Superintendent Lee Sung, I believe you have a couple of comments.
Yes, I would like to respond and address a couple of things that were just stated in these public comments. First of all, I'm not sure if this is the same community person who was asking about the sidewalks surrounding Corona Del Mar High School. I do understand that the sidewalk is a city responsibility, and that our director of facilities was actually already had reached out to the city, and they will appropriately respond to the citizen. I'm not sure if it's the same one or a different one, but we'll make sure that this community member gets a response with the proper information and directing them to the city. The second comment, I do need to correct the record here. First of all, I did apply for the waiver at the direction of the board. The failed 4x4 model actually is doing very well in Estancia High School. And I think we all had supported the concept of the 4x4. Obviously, we had to pull that back for the right reasons. But the model itself is actually a very strong model, and it's working well for a lot of right reasons there at Estancia High School. The failed start date for middle school and high school, I explained those circumstances, and I have also committed that we're only going to open when we're safe, and we had to delay that, but we're very happy that we got right back on the saddle, and we opened a few weeks later. And a weak relationship with the teachers union. I've always prided myself on working closely with unions and union leaderships. Even as recent as today, having a very professional collaborative discussion with our union leadership. So I'm not sure where that's coming from. And then finally, that I was part of the problems of the past regarding SWAN. First of all, I wasn't here when SWAN was brought into the district. Okay, so let's be clear on that. But I will state that I was instrumental, along with other people from our ed division and our principals, to really push to change to something better. So, you know, I don't know where this information is coming from, but I needed to set the record straight. We're in a much better place now. SWAN served its purpose back in the day, but it was time to change. I think we had all recognized that, and I'm very pleased that we did make that change, and I was part of that. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say.
Okay, so we will adjourn to closed session. There will be no report out. It is on item 9A, Public Employee Evaluation, Title Superintendent, pursuant to Government Code Section 9457. So again, we'll end the and go back into closed session at this point in time. Thank you all for participating. I want to do a shout out to two of our new incoming board members were on the attendees, and that is Trustee Carol Crane, incoming trustee from Trustee Area 3, and I believe it's Krista Wigan from Trustee Area 5, who Trustee Area 6, who was also in attendance today. And thank you very much for attending. It's always nice to see that you'll be on board, and welcome. All right, so we will now move into closed session again.